Hey, welcome to the Cigar Room Show. Thank you, Stock the Bar Premium Vodka, for your continued support of the Cigar Room Show. And Cerebella Essentials, thank you for your continued support of the Cigar Room Show. Thank you so much. For those of you out there that haven't got a chance, check them out. Stock the Bar Premium Vodka. You can find them on Instagram. You can look up on their website, stockthebarpremiumvodka.com. Look them up on Facebook. Stock the Bar Premium Vodka. If you ain't hip yet, definitely go check them out. Daryl and Deborah Reese, great owners. Check out Cerebella Essentials for all your general purpose man cave and cigar room needs. Cerebella Essentials, my favorite candles on the market. So I want to talk about not letting others dictate your emotional state. This is really a hard one. It's a tough one because, and I'm going to split this up in a little bit of a series. It's a really tough one because it's hard of everything that you've been through in life, everything that you went through. A lot of times you can feel like a lot of things that happen is someone else's fault or where you're at. Someone else's fault, how things happened. And I get it. Sometimes when you're dealing with certain people, when you're dealing with certain relationships and certain circumstances you're in, there are people who are involved in your downfall. There are people who are involved in you just losing things, losing your mind, losing your comfortability. You know, I understand that happens. You know, it really is, it's really a hurtful thing when it does. But getting to a place where someone just doesn't dictate your emotional state going forward. Eventually, you got to get to a place where that person or that time in your life, maybe it was a mistake you made and you're so caught up in that mistake that you just can't get over yourself. Do not let others or other times in your life dictate your current emotional state so much it derails you from where your destiny. A lot of you out there have so much that you're going to do. A lot of you currently have a lot probably on your plate. But a lot of times those emotions from a certain time in your life or a certain person in your life or mistakes you've made constantly keep a hold on you. There's a lot of resources around this. There's a lot of resources out there, as well as professionals who can help you. I encourage a lot of you to search and find for that. First, have a willingness to want to change. That's first. You have to have a willingness to want to change. You can open up and talk about it all you want, but there has to be a willingness on your end. And ask yourself, have I been willing more to stay in my emotional state? Or have I had a willingness eventually to grow and try to get out of this, to try to shake this? And by being honest, you're going to always remember that to some extent. But the way you felt about it every time something triggered it, you know, in certain trigger words, certain trigger moments, certain things that happen that trigger you back to that place all over again. It may even be a certain person that triggers you. So I'll tell you a little bit about my personal experience without naming real names like that. But there are certain people that were in my life, right? And they triggered me emotionally where I was going to be irresponsible. There were certain people that were in my life that I know didn't care about me. And these people were people that I thought were supposed to. There's people you think that in your life that actually are, you think they're supposed to care about you. And it's confusing you, it's frustrating you why they're not. It's like, you're this to me. Why aren't you, what is wrong with you? Then you start to realize, well, I did anyway. They're not trying to be responsible for how they care about me, for how they are there for me, how they're having a relationship with me. Because listen, everybody doesn't have to serve you a purpose that deals with you. You just don't want them to serve you up nothing bad either. And I realized that these certain people were not serving me up anything good. They were constantly serving me up toxic relationship, toxic behavior. And it was diminishing me morally. Because I was giving myself to wanting to still be around these people, or try at least. And I'm looking, this ain't what I'm supposed to be doing. This ain't right. You start to feel that abnormal feeling. That's when you register to yourself, hey, this isn't right. You have to continue on that. The things that aren't right, it feels that way for a reason. Speaking from experience, it definitely felt that way for a reason for me. So I had to let those people go. Now, I know a lot of people out there, there's certain people who are a certain closeness to them. They feel like, well, that's family, and, that's, and for me, it was family and some friends. I don't care. I don't care about what they were to me as much as I care about myself and where I'm trying to be. That may sound callous or harsh. Oh, yeah? Think about how they've been treating you. Have they been treating you callous and harsh? Now, you're like, well, that's one side of the story. Maybe you were doing certain things? Sure, you could probably say that. Maybe I was doing certain things maybe they may be upset with me. Yeah. Then you realize that their habits create certain things in their lives. And you'll see those people that you decide to not be around no more, you'll see the difference. See, if it was you would start to see things starting to look worse. Because once you start, if you're a kind of person that has a habit of doing bad things to people, let me tell you what's going to happen. You start cutting people off. Now, if you're the person that's the offender, a lot of times, this is the majority of people. I'm not saying the minority, a small minority of people that just somehow, some way, they just have things go well for them after that. I'm talking about those people mostly that just do foul things, that are foul people, that don't have any idea of selfless behavior, just selfish people. What's going to happen is they're going to start cutting people off, and they're going to burn bridges with people. They're going to find themselves in a place where they're alone, and then they're going to start to complain about how no one's there for them. People who actually cut people off, they don't find themselves in the complaining state. They find themselves in a more happy one. Man, I'm glad. They don't have to make an announcement either. They actually they're okay. They're okay. But you'll see the difference. When you start cutting people off and you see yourself complaining about how nobody's there for you and you're there for it. Yeah. It's because it's you. It's because it's you. You're the person that's really needed to do some checks and balances. Because somewhere along the line, or maybe it's always been that way, you've become a very, very bad person. Just simple as that. You just become a very bad person. Sorry. You just have. But for those of you that cut people off and you find yourself just in a better place, loving yourself or loving someone else doesn't take justifications. You don't have to justify why you cut a person off. When you have to constantly justify why you cut a person off or justify why you got a person in your life, you know you're doing it wrong. You know you're handling it wrong. And I don't care who doesn't agree with me on this. This is reality. It's fine. You can disagree with it. But if you have to justify someone being in your life or justify why you had to cut somebody off, it may be something wrong there. More than likely it is. You have to constantly explain yourself. Listen, people are creatures of habit. If they treated you like that, they're going to continuously treat people like that who are close to them. You ain't going to have to justify it. There's certain people in my life who I cut off, and I remember people like, what? You don't deal with? Do you? Do you deal with that person? Do you know what they're like on a daily basis? They don't know. They don't know what you went through. They don't know what you had to deal with because you decided to take on a more close relationship with that person. They don't know. They have no idea. Don't have to justify it. Just move on with your life. Move on with your life. There are certain people that you need to let go. And this is going to be a hard process for a lot of people because of your relationship with these people. But do yourself a favor and let them go. Let them go on about their toxic way. But if you find yourself in a worse space, you may have let a person go just off of miscommunication. And that's what I want to get into next. Miscommunication is it's such a terrible thing to derail people in their relationships. Sometimes it really is a miscommunication. Some people just can't communicate well whenever something goes wrong. Please, before you cut somebody off, make sure it's not just a simple miscommunication and misunderstanding. I think that when you cut people off from your life, I think it should be people who just have bad habits of continuous. You've already communicated this bothers you. You've already communicated that this is wrong. What's happening? It may make you feel like, oh, you're just hypersensitive. You're just sensitive, you know. Be honest with yourself. Are you really being that sensitive, or is this person really being that insensitive? Well, that's just the way they are. That's the constant thing we've told ourselves over the years. That's just the way they are, right? Wrong. Stop saying that. Stop justifying it on their behalf. Once again, if you have to justify someone being in your life, and if you have to justify cutting someone off, it's probably the wrong thing. Think about it a little bit further, and you might find out it may be a misunderstanding, it might be a miscommunication. But if you're finding yourself justifying someone in your life, this is the way they are. I mean, everybody go through something, right? Yeah, there's certain people that go through some things, and there's some people that go through extreme things. Come on now. Well, I went through this, and you just got to get through that. Sometimes it's just, yeah, I know. Constant justifications. Why? Because of your own preferences. You haven't dealt with the fact that you prefer certain things to be in certain people to be in your life. You prefer them. You prefer them. First, you prefer them so high that you forget protecting yourself. Think about all the times you just didn't protect yourself because you preferred something else. Like, well, that's life. Is it? Is that life? Is that really what is all that's for you? Is that really what's meant for you? Think about that. Is where you're at really what's meant for you? Really? That's giving over dictatorship to something else. That's just what it's going to be. Not when you have the freedom to do something else. Freedom of choice. A lot of us are in situations where we made it so that our freedom is real to us. You put yourself in a predicament where freedom isn't realistic to you in this moment. And if you were to leave it alone or leave the person alone, it can cause harm to you. It can cause harm to the people you care about. Then you have to come up with a strategy. Exit strategies. I'm about to mention next. Exit strategies. There's a lot of harmful, toxic things people are a part of. And they have to understand that what you do or what you're about to do may cause harm to you or somebody you care about. And I know a lot of people out there say, "Oh no, you just walk out, you just don't care, you just leave a person alone, you just rip the," and that's not realistic for you. It's not realistic for you. I get it. So my hope is a lot of you don't keep justifying certain behaviors until you're in this situation. But if you find yourself in this situation, there is still a lot of help out there. Do your due diligence. It may take a sacrifice of lifestyle. It may take a sacrifice of where you're comfortable at. It may take a sacrifice of being uncomfortable for a little while. But man, you don't got to deal with that no more. Because you wanting to stay comfortable where you're at and keep justifying certain behaviors, it's going to leave you in a worse situation for years to come. And a lot of you know this already. A lot of you know this. A lot of you. You keep lying to yourself, keep lying to your loved ones, keep justifying behaviors. You keep dealing with certain people. And some of you are in situations so deep you can't get out. Well, at least in your mind, you keep telling yourself that. Somebody keep making you feel less than, keep making you feel like you're worthless, you're nobody, you're nothing without them. You keep letting them dictate your emotions every day. You're on pins and needles. You're walking on eggshells dealing with them. There's a lot of people out there that have been through similar situations, and they've created programs. They've created situations and places for people just like you because they were there themselves. My hope is that you can start to tap in with some of those people. And by all means, if some of you are out there in situations, my heart goes out to you, and not in a way where I'm just sending thoughts and prayers. No, my heart goes out to you in a way where I'm telling you that if you contact me directly, I will do my best to try to tap in as many resources as I can to help you. I promise you that. I will. Trust me. I will. And I know it's some way, somehow, I'm going to try to help, and there's going to be some way to help you. Now, not to say immediately, but I will do my due diligence to find the resources to help you. My heart goes out to you. So those of you out there, don't be afraid to reach out and say to somebody who could possibly help you, I need help, because this is hurting me. This is destroying me. It's destroying some of the people I love. It might be you and your kids in a situation. It might be you, this person is taking the worst, you're taking the worst beatings from them mentally and physically. Somebody threatening you and holding something over your head so much you can't shake it. And you're constantly letting someone dictate where you're going to be and what you're going to do in your life. You keep justifying behaviors. Don't keep doing that. That's dangerous. I need you to know that that's not all that's here for you. I need those of you out there to know that what you're dealing with from your past and your mistakes and the things that you've done, that's not all that's for you. No. Acknowledge what happened, understandably so, and start figuring out ways on how you pivot to move in a different direction. There's a lot of you that are highly valuable. Highly valuable. Once you've gotten through this space in your life, your story is going to be so valuable, and hopefully you could tell it right here on the Cigar Room Show, where I just want to have that in-depth conversation. My hope is every time someone tunes in on this show, that they get inspired somehow, encouraged somehow, get an understanding, information, or they have some type of entertainment where they got to enjoy some part of this show. My hope is from this show that some dynamic that I provided and the people that come on this show either give you entertainment, information, game, some type of re-energized, focus, something you can always take from this show. I just appreciate everyone out there and how they support it. And my hope is that I can help somebody out there. Don't let others dictate your emotions so long that it derails you from where you're trying to be, what you're wanting to be, what you need to be. Don't let others dictate your emotions so much. I hope you understand how special you are and how much you're cared about. Because as much as it may feel like certain people, like everybody don't care about you, there's somebody out there. You'd be surprised. There's people that will meet you day one and show you their care about you so much. Why? Because they were once you. They were once you. That's the thing a lot of people don't understand. You may have everything, everybody in your current life right now. It may feel like everyone's against you. It may feel like no one cares about you. Then all of a sudden you meet somebody and on day one, they show you more care than you felt in years. Why? Because they were once you. Or they know somebody that was in your situation that was close to them growing up. And they wish they could have helped them. And vicariously through you, they feel that they helped someone the way that they wanted someone to help them. I'll tell you, that was my situation. A lot of times when I help people, it's because a lot of times I wanted somebody to come help me and my sisters when we was kids. Come love us, come care about us. Not make us feel the way that we felt a lot of times growing up. Like we were out of place. Like nobody really cared about us for real. Then you meet somebody, I know what you're feeling. Yeah, I know what you're feeling. Let me help you. Then a lot of times you guard it. You guard it because you're not sure if this person is really trying to help you or not. And you're scared. I understand. Please, please, go get the proper help. Go tap into the proper resources. And do not continuously let someone continue to dictate your emotions and where you're trying to go with your life. I hope everyone out there has a blessed and prosperous week from the Cigar Room. Thank you. Have a good night.